everybody, I hope you had a fantastic week. So today's lesson is going to be mainly for Italian speakers who are learning English. So I've been teaching in Italy for about 6 years, so this video is a collection of errors that I have heard here and there from all students from different levels. So I hope whatever your level is, I hope this could be useful for you. Now, I just want you to keep in mind that there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. In fact, it's a good thing because it's an indication that you're learning and making an effort. Infatti io faccio tanti errori quando parlo in italiano, ma sono fortunata perché ho degli amici con molta pazienza che mi correggono durante le conversazioni. Even though it's okay to make mistakes, it's good to be aware of the mistakes we are making so we can eliminate them. All right, so stay tuned to look at 25 mistakes that Italians make while speaking in English. My name is Anika, I'm an English teacher. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment below for any questions or recommendation for our next videos. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to click subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos every Saturday. Now, let's get started. Now, mistake number 1 is I haven't a cat. Okay, so this is not correct. You would rather say I don't have a cat or you don't have a cat. If it's third person singular, it will be he or she doesn't have a cat. Now, I haven't is a kind of old-fashioned language or extremely formal language. You don't really hear that in real-life conversation nowadays. So it would be either you could say I don't have, or another option would be I haven't got. I haven't got a cat. All right, or she hasn't got a cat. Mistake number 2 is the use of don't have to. Okay, so don't have to and mustn't are often confused, and a lot of students think they're the same. In fact, they're not the same. Now, in the positive sense, when you have to do something or must do something, it's an obligation for you. For example, I have to go to work. But in the negative sense, they're quite different. If you mustn't do something, it's a prohibition. It's similar to saying I can't, all right? On the other hand, I don't have to is something that is not necessary, but you can do it. It's possible to do it, but it's not necessary. For example, I don't have to go to the supermarket today because I've got food in the fridge. It's not obligatory, but if I want to, I can go to the supermarket. An example for mustn't would be we mustn't smoke in the supermarket because it's against the law, or it's just crazy. Mistake number 3 is the use of the word actually. Actually is not the same as attualmente. It's a false friend. Attualmente in inglese sarebbe currently. Currently or at present. For example, I am currently working as an English teacher. The word actually exists in English, but it has a completely different meaning. It means in realtà. For example, I thought she was a doctor, but actually she's an engineer. Mistake number 4 is the confusion between the words parents and relatives. So parents are only your father and mother. Everybody else is your relative. Relatives are people who are not in your immediate family, but your uncle, cousin, aunt, they're all your relatives. So mistake number 5 is the wrong use of article with H. The letter H in English is a consonant and it's pronounced with a H sound. So the article before it is an A and not an. I hear a lot of students say an house, an horse, which is not correct. It's supposed to be a house, a horse, a hero, etc. There are some exceptions. I know we all hate exceptions, but there are some exceptions where you do not pronounce the H, for example, hour. In that case, you would say an hour because H is absent. Then you have silent H in honest, not honest, but honest. So an honest man, an heir to the throne. Every other case, in most of the cases, H is pronounced, so you use a. a house, a horse. Mistake number 6 is the sentence we are in 5 or we are in 10. You don't really say that. When you talk about a group of people together in a meeting or a class, you would say there are 5 of us. There are 5 of us, there are 10 of us. So there are 5 of us is used for the present. In the past, there were 5 of us in the meeting. There were 10 of us in the class, etc. Number 7 is the confusion between the words fun and funny. They are not the same. Although they're both adjectives, they can both be used for people or things. But fun means something that you enjoy doing. You're having fun doing it, you're enjoying it. Funny instead is something that makes you laugh. Qualcosa che ti fa ridere is funny. So, for example, when I went to Rome for traveling, it was fun. Okay, so I was enjoying it. I wouldn't say traveling to Rome was funny. It didn't make me laugh. It was just something I had fun with. Funny would be a comedy movie because it makes you laugh. So, for example, you could say Jim Carrey is funny. He makes you laugh. The next mistake is I have with age. So in English, you don't say the verb to have with age, you say verb to be. So the correct version would be I am 50 years old, okay? Not I have 50 years old. You also be careful because it's correct to say I am 50 or I am 50 years old. I hear a lot of students also say I am 50 years. That's not correct. You can either say I am 50 or I am 50 years old. So mistake number 9 is I have hungry. It's not correct to say that, but I am hungry. So hungry is an adjective, which means affamato. Io sono affamato, so I am hungry and not I have hungry. So number 10 is really common among students. I hear a lot of students say I am agree, which is not correct. Instead, you would say I agree. I agree with you, okay? Or in negative form, I don't agree with you. If it's third person singular, she doesn't agree with me. He doesn't agree with me, etc. So number 11 was actually very confusing for me as a learner of Italian. This is the difference between the word sensible and sensitive. Sensible is used to describe a person who is very practical or responsible. So for example, a sensible person goes to work on time or meets deadlines, for example, could be a sensible person. Sensitive, on the other hand, means when you're affected easily, okay? So it could be in emotional sense. For example, if you cry a lot when you hear some things, you are a sensitive person. You can also be sensitive physically. For example, you can have sensitive skin if it's exposed to too much sunlight or certain products. Your skin can be sensitive. Number 12. Wow, we are almost halfway through. So number 12 is the elimination of it. So a lot of Italian students tend to eliminate the word it or the subject, but it's actually very important. For example, you shouldn't say is raining, but it is raining. Okay, so another example would be it is beautiful or it's beautiful if you want to contract it. It's amazing, not is amazing. So in Italian, there are conjugations. So if you change the verb, you can easily understand what the subject is, but in English, you always need the subject. So be careful about that. Number 13 is the difference between remember and remind. So remember is something that you don't forget. So you remember to take the keys. You remember where you keep your keys, for example. Remind, on the other hand, is when you make someone remember something, or vice versa. For example, please remind me to meet my friend tomorrow. Number 14 is a very common mistake that I hear in class or in meetings. A lot of students say, I am in late. That's not correct. You would rather say, I'm late. I'm late. Sorry, I'm late. Number 15 is the use of double negative. Double negative is okay in Italian. You can easily say non capisco niente, but in English you wouldn't say that. You would say I don't understand anything. Or you could also say, I understand nothing. So nothing is a negative word, don't is a negative word. You cannot put them together. Number 16, do mistakes. We do not do mistakes, we make mistakes. Now, this can be really confusing because in Italian, we just have one word, fare, for do and make. So the only way to use the correct word is to remember it. With make, you say mistakes. Or with dishes, you do the dishes and not make the dishes. So it's just something you have to play by memory. Unfortunately, there is no rule for that. So be careful with the use of do and make. Similarly, it's not make photos or do photos, but take photos. So when I speak Italian, sometimes I make mistakes and say prendere foto, which obviously is not correct. You fare foto, but in English you take photos. Number 18 is lose the train. So you wouldn't say lose the train, but miss the train. Now, the words lose and miss can be confusing in English because there is one word in Italian, perdere, for both lose and make. But keep in mind that lose is for something that belongs to you. If you have a pen and you can't find your pen, you lost your pen. Okay, but if you miss something, that means something was on schedule. Something was on the timetable, but you couldn't make it to that. You couldn't go to that meeting, or you couldn't you couldn't catch the bus, so you missed it. All right, so you missed the train and not lost the train, unless the train belongs to you. Number 19 is the word stage. Stage is a French word. So the word in English for a trainee job is internship. So it's an internship. That's often confused with the word stage. There is a word called stage in English, spelled exactly the same way, which means the place where people perform things. So if there is a musical performance, if there is a concert, the place where all the artists are performing music is the stage. Number 20 is a very common mistake, not just for Italian speakers, but students from all over the world. This is the difference between the short I sound and E sound. For example, look at these words, ship and sheep. Okay, so the meaning is completely different, although they sound quite similar. So ship with a short I is the place where it's a transportation for going on water, and sheep is the animal. Number 21 is the pronunciation of past simple words, past simple regular verbs with ending in ed. For example, the past of call is called. The L and D sort of blend together, called, and not called. Okay, so another example would be stopped, not stop it, or happened. ND kind of blends together. Nd. Now, you don't usually pronounce the last E of past simple regular verbs, except when the last letters are T or D. For example, if you have waste, the past is wasted because the last consonant is a T. Or if you have the verb need, the past is needed. Okay, so it's literally impossible to pronounce T and D together. So only when the last letters are T and D do you pronounce the last E. Otherwise, you always blend together the last consonant and the D. Number 22 is the word nothing. So in Italian, niente is very often used for closing a subject when you're speaking, or as a response to thank you. But in English, it's not very common. It's not used as in Italian. So if you're changing the subject, for example, you could use anyway. So you could say, so anyway, I went to the mall yesterday. Or as a response to thank you, you can say, oh, don't worry, or you could say, you're welcome. Number 23 is you have reason. So it's not correct in English. Hai ragione in English would be you're right. Number 24 is good work. So we don't really say good work, but have a good day or have a nice day is common to say in English. But I can understand, because in Italian there is buon lavoro, but instead there's no equivalent to that. So you would just say have a nice day or have a great day. And finally, a very common mistake is to overuse articles. In Italian, articles are really common. In fact, I make a lot of mistakes and miss out some articles that I'm supposed to say. But a lot of Italian speakers do exactly the opposite. So a lot of places, the word the is not really necessary. So for example, you wouldn't say, I had the breakfast today. You would say, I had breakfast today. So that is all for today. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. So have an awesome week. I will see you next Saturday. Bye!